Chapter 18 off the script. A few days later, you're back in LA, waking up lonely in your empty apartment. You close your eyes, imagining rolling over and finding Ashton still asleep next to you in bed, the morning light dappling his skin. I miss Ashton. I wish Eddie were here and we could go back in time to when everything was the same. But obviously it's not, and until Eddie actually sits down and talk, you're trapped in this hell of being away from Ashton and feuding with your brother. To make things even more complicated, the press panel for Scandal is today, and you don't even know if Eddie will show. He hasn't answered any of your texts. I should leave it be. As much as you want to message him again, you know it's better if you don't push. You already did that at the hotel and things went to shit. This is the longest we've ever gone without speaking. I hate this so much. You yearn to call him. Keep calling until he answers, but you know he's in stubborn mode and won't budge until he's ready. Time to drag myself out of bed and get moving. At least I'll see Ashton at the panel. You think about the last time you kissed and the memory of his lips on yours makes you ache. Trying to focus on promoting the show while nursing a heartbreak isn't going to be easy, but maybe I shouldn't be thinking about what Ashton will think when he sees me. But I can't help it. I want to look good when he does. Damage control. You tug on a sexy but professional outfit, giving yourself a little shake in the mirror. Ashton is going to appreciate this look from afar, and that's all I can ask for right now. Just because you're currently heartbroken doesn't mean you have to look like it. In downtown Hollywood, you arrive at the press panel and have a few minutes to collect yourself before it kicks off. Your breath catches when you spot Ashton, and he heads in your direction. Hi, Nora. Ashton looks so good, you almost can't stop yourself from touching him, and it's painful to hold back, but there's no way you can even look at him sideways during this panel. Hey, you can tell he wants to reach for you, to touch you, to pull you into a hug, but instead he keeps his hands at his sides. I'm going to keep my distance, but I have to say you look so damn sexy in that outfit. Thank you. I hoped you'd like it. Oh, I don't like it. I love it. So, are you ready for the panel? I am. We worked our asses off on the show, and it's time everyone knows it. We really did. I'm so proud of our work. I hope I do a decent job in front of the press. You will. I have zero doubts. Taking a deep breath, you force yourself to ask a question that kept you up all night. Have you seen Eddie? Do you know if he's coming? A mask slips over his face and he shakes his head. He hasn't responded to any of my texts, but there's been no word if he's coming. Almost as if on cue, he stomps in, spots you and Ashton, and makes his way over. Should have known. Of course the lovebirds arrived. Eddie, I promise we didn't. We're trying to respect your feelings. That's rich. After you two spent months lying and giving not a damn about my feelings. We're icing us on how it isn't helping. I have nothing to say to you. Ashton and I aren't even seeing each other right now. You're not. Eddie turns a scowl to Ashton. If you broke her heart again. For your information, it was her choice. I have no interest in giving in to your childish demands. Eddie, I'm getting tired of this. I made that call because of how much I hurt you, and I want to do better, but your shitty comments are making that choice even harder. I don't really care if I'm making things harder for you, just like you didn't care about me. Really? You think I don't care? The anger drains from his face, replaced by a flicker of guilt. I didn't expect either of you to actually listen to me. Right, because I've spent my whole life not giving a damn about what you think. Sounds exactly like me. Frankly, I wouldn't have listened, but I respect how much Nora loves her brother, even when he's being a jerk. That comment makes him clench his jaw and ball his hands into fists. Good job, Ashton. I'm going to walk away before I say something I regret. He stomps off and you put your head in your hands. Today is not going to be fun at all. It's because you have two men doing a pissing contest now. How are the three of us going to field questions from the press and hype up the show today when it looks like we're getting ready to brawl? It's not going to be great, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that to Eddie and poked the bear. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't have. I get why you did it. Probably would have done the same in your shoes, but we need to be at our most professional right now. I promise I'll be on my best behavior for the panel. I have no doubts. I just hope Eddie will too. You take a deep breath, trying to calm your nerves, but it's kind of impossible with the looming panel. Any reporter worth their salt will be able to tell there's tension. Bad publicity is still publicity. I'd rather get ahead of the damage than try to contain speculation and rumors. You swallow, trying not to break into a cold sweat, but you need to figure out how to get ahead of this in the next 10 minutes. Ashton glances at his retreating figure, then looks at you. I know it's best if I keep my distance, but I do have some tips on how to do damage control. This isn't my first potential scandal, after all. Get a crash course from Ashton. You and Ashton sit down together in the green room, prepared to talk a few minutes before the press panel to go over a few field questions. The reporters will smell blood a mile away, so we've got to be good. I know it's nerve-wracking, but we'll pull it off. And if we don't, is the show dead in the water? Not at all. And we're not the actors. We're the behind-the-scenes folks the general public doesn't care much about. The reporters, however, do care. That's true. I want to put our best foot forward here because we need good publicity. We'll do great as long as we stick to topics relating to the show. What if I simply refuse to comment on personal stuff if they ask? In my experience, that can be worse, because they'll draw their own conclusions like Eddie did. Oh. I don't want to repeat that. We have enough misinformation handling to do with Eddie. That word, everyone keeps misusing it. It's also disinformation, just saying. Exactly, we don't need that with reporters, too. I'm sure you've been through it with them before. Several times. We want to be honest with the press as we can, so they can cut us a fair break in turn. I can do that. I know you can. You don't want to get more nervous than you already are, so you try to focus on the prep session. The other thing is we know Eddie isn't a great actor, so you'll have to head him off and make sure he doesn't say too much. God, that sounds intimidating. You'll be able to handle him, I know you can. Really, our relationship isn't a good metaphor for much of what I'm telling you. Thinking about all the damage that would have been mitigated if I told you how I felt when we were kids, or how much less trouble would have been caused if we'd both come clean when we had the chance. Damn. Hindsight. We really did bring this on ourselves. We would have saved ourselves so much heartache if we had told Eddie from the start. We messed up there. I know we're scared to tell him, but we should have. No wonder he's hurt. All we can do now is be honest with him going forward. We've already taken a big step. Nodding, you roll your shoulders and try not to tense up. I want the press to be excited about the show and to focus on that and not us and our dynamics. If they ask about anything you're not proud of, don't try to avoid copping to it. Just acknowledge that Eddie might not be a ray of sunshine today, but he'll brighten up if the conversation turns to his work. Okay, I can do that. You swallow hard, your eyes stinging, as you realize how messed up everything has gotten. This should have been one of the best, most exciting moments of your life, but it's tainted. I wish this hadn't gone so wrong. Wish my brother would look at me with pride out there. I'm sorry, baby. He will again. Maybe not this second, but he will. I hope so. I've never gone through anything like this with him. He's always been there for me, and I'm not used to not having him. The press will know that I miss my brother. As much as he's annoying right now with his actions, I know it's because of what I did. Hey, it's what we did. It still doesn't give him the right to be mean to you. He can scale it back a little. I understand, though. I'm not sure I'd be any better in his place. You're right. I can't stand here and say I wouldn't be angry, too, but it's also our business, not his. That's true. We are all adults here. Except for Eddie. Ashton pulls you in a quick hug, which is somewhat comforting and painful all at once. You relish in his touch, but it also breaks your heart because you don't know when you'll get to touch him again. Things will be okay again, I promise. I hope so. I really, really hope so. I know so, and I'll be beside you every step of the way. You take Ashton's hand and squeeze, trying to draw as much strength from his touch as possible before you're fed to the sharks. You steel your nerves as you and Ashton and Eddie take your seats for the panel in front of the gaggle of reporters. The moderator, Misty, kicks off the chat. I'm so excited to sit down with the creators of Scandal and Sunset. We have a lot to talk about because, wow, was the premiere I screened wild. You smile, trying to appear calm and collected as Misty checks her list of questions. Meanwhile, Eddie looks like he just sucked on a lemon. Let's dive right in. What do each of you see as the central theme for Scandal? You start to answer, then hesitate, deciding to answer last to come in and clean up in case Eddie says something less stellar. I'll kick off saying, I think the theme is love. Pure, simple. So many folks crave love and romance, that's what our stars wanted. I think it's adventure. Mercy, Celeste, Gemma all signed up for probably the biggest journey of their lives by doing our show. It's an adventure to put yourself out there the way they did. Phew! You relax a little after Eddie speaks. He didn't say anything bristly or out of line. Maybe this is going to be okay. I see the show theme as hope. Stars all share the same thing. The hope of finding love. It's a beautiful stage of life when you're open, ready, and seeking your special person. And who doesn't love love? Right? With our show, we wanted to bring in 3 hopeful women and introduce them to possibilities. Some much more possible than others, of course. Misty laughs, and your confidence soars. You're doing great so far. We've all dated duds, just not on national TV. You give Misty and the reporters a smile and push back your shoulders. You're doing the thing. Let's talk about your creative processes. Mine is all about anticipating what might happen and preparing myself to catch those moments with my camera. That sounds like a lot of work, always trying to think one step ahead. It's part of who I am. If I'm filming a parting scene, I've got my eyes all over the room as I try to spot the moments for our audience. Relax even more after that answer. Eddie does love to talk craft, so you're happy Misty asked this question. I like to focus on bringing out the best moments from our talent. I look for ways to push what they're feeling and to get scenes out of them where they're being their most authentic selves. And an audience can spot a phony. I mean, that's complete and utter BS, but okay. As for me, I make sure I'm thinking about bringing together the best teams to help get my vision for a show across, so I take my time to carefully choose every member of cast and crew. There's a lot of responsibility in that job. Yes, but I thrive off of it. Let's talk about what makes Scandal different from other shows on the market. Absolutely nothing. Oh, that's easy. The biggest difference is we've got Nora Binkley and her immense talent. We're also so lucky to get her on the project. She's amazing at getting the best out of our cast and has such great foresight and eye for detail. It all combines to make a fantastic show. Wow, those are wonderful compliments to any EP. They sure are, and it's not lost on you what a career boost this panel is and what great direction it's taking. Thanks to Ashton. And of course, you can't let him give you all the credit, nice as the compliments are to hear. They really are, and in case you haven't already guessed, Ashton is a dream to work with. He's always open to creative suggestions and true collaboration, which makes any project that much better. You just skipped over Eddie, and something tells me he's a little seething. You're not sure which of you actually moves, but Ashton's fingers brush over yours under the table, sending an electric pulse up your spine. You quickly pull away so you can keep your head in the game to answer any questions. Our show's difference is Ashton's wildly fun concept, the premise, personality, stunning setting make for such a riveting TV, which is no easy feat in an age when it's so hard to hold attention spans. Yeah, especially when everyone's attention span is about 10 seconds. For sure, I've tried and given on several shows recently, which was a bummer. Exactly, but trust me when I say that when it comes to Scandal, you'll be screaming at your TV to show you Season 2 immediately. I can definitely confirm I was clamoring for it, and still am. Well, you definitely have Ashton's brilliant vision to thank for that. Sounds like you and Ashton really worked well together, Nora. Eddie snorts so loud every head in the room turns in his direction. Yeah, Nora working well with Ashton is an understatement of the year. Eddie, is there some drama I'm picking up on here? Your tone suggests you're not thrilled. You suck in a breath, looking in Eddie's direction as sweat prickles along your lower back. Oh, no. Those two deserve each other. Misty eyes him, but thankfully doesn't push. You dodged a major bullet there, and if Misty weren't so nice, she could have been all over that. As the panel continues, Ashton presses a knee briefly against yours. You know it's meant to be comfort, but the thrill sensing through you is both exciting and devastating. This feels like being heartbroken in high school and desperately trying to avoid touching my crush. One more question before we open the floor to reporters. What was your favorite thing about working on the show? Mine was working with my best friends, making the show for all of you. We'll float the boat. Making the show for all of you. Filming a TV show isn't easy. We all know this, but we do it because we love it, and we want to give viewers a little break from their lives. I would hope joining us on this trip to the Maldives to find love provides the perfect escape. And a bit of scandal. Oh, sounds like a treat. You force yourself to ignore the way Eddie's cracking his jaw in annoyance to you, but as the panel continues, you feel him unraveling. The tension rises at the table fast as he bristles at every word you and Ashton say about each other. Oh, well, that was my last question. Let's open the floor to the audience. There's a flurry of activity as the reporters shuffle through their notes before thrusting their hands in the air. Misty nods to one reporter. We need details about Mercy's rumored departure from the show and the viral video of her at the wrap party. What was going on there? You straighten up your shoulders and lift your chin, staring coolly at the reporter, determined to give a measured answer. As you know, creative differences and disagreements with castmates can pop up at any time, and that's what happened between Mercy and the crew. All part of showbiz. The reporter nods, and you can't help but smile at how well you handled that. You effectively shut down any drama. And I want to add... No, not a note about Mercy. Something I'm excited about. You're in for such a treat when it comes to Celeste and Gemma. They're such bright lights, and it was wonderful getting to know them. Oh, they're such opposite personalities, too. It was fun to watch them interact. Right. You can tell they're ride or die for each other, and there's so much love between them. You'll see that as the season plays out. You give the crowd a satisfied smile, and happy to have shifted the conversation away from Mercy. So we know you three are childhood friends in addition to Nora and Eddie being siblings. Has it been difficult navigating a working relationship with such a storied history between you and Ashton? You jump in before Eddie can answer too honestly. We should let the show and the quality of our work speak for our friendship. Watch for clues about your relationships. Got it. Reporters pelt you, Ashton, and Eddie with more questions before Misty clears her throat. Alright, we have time for one final question, and then we need to let these three get back to work. To close this out, I'd love to hear what's next for the three of you. I'll share as soon as I'm able. You wink at the reporter and Ashton chuckles. You really won't give us more than that? I gotta keep you on your toes. I'll definitely keep an eye on deadline then for your next project announcement. I don't know what's next for me, now that the show's over. Plus the opportunity to work together might not always pan out. You try to hide your shock. Is Eddie quitting? The thought of him leaving is such a gut punch. The show? Did you mean the season? Eddie opens his mouth to respond, but Ashton interrupts. I think what Eddie meant is we'll need to see how the season's received, of course, before we truly know the show's fate. Numbers and all, I'm sure it'll take some scheduling wrangling after this, because I'm sure Nora and Eddie will be in high demand. Ashton gives the reporter a winning smile, but you can see the hurt and confusion in his eyes, and you know they're mirrored in yours. The panel ends and your heart pounds in your ears. You don't know how to process what happened with Eddie. While Ashton and Ned work, you slip away and find Eddie packing up in the green room. Your heart sinks. Eddie, why would you imply you'd leave the show? Who I date doesn't need to affect everything we've worked for. My God, we busted our asses to get here. Yeah, and I'm done doing that for people I don't even trust. You won't have to worry about my opinion anymore. I'm not coming back for season 2. You're understandably hurt, I get it. I wish I had told you about Ashton sooner. I know you just wanted to look out for me, and you're mad I didn't give you a chance. I'm sorry, but I'm also perfectly capable of deciding who I date and handling my own feelings if things go south. So thank you, but you don't need to worry about me anymore, okay? You don't get it at all. But it doesn't matter anymore. You want to make your own calls, then you should be happy that you're on your own now. Stop saying that. Look, do whatever you want, but I'm not going to watch you fall apart over him again, and I'm certainly never giving you to my blessing. Film the show without me, I don't care. But you don't even know what to say, and as you struggle to find words, tears stinging your eyes, Eddie slips away. You head out of the green room and find a back office where you can cry alone, but Ashton must have seen you leave because a moment later his warm hands lay on your shoulders. What happened? You burst into tears and he pulls you to his chest. Eddie is never going to forgive either of us. He doesn't care that we're trying to make it right. I broke both our hearts for nothing. No, you didn't. You did what you thought was right by your brother. It wasn't for nothing. I lost you. And Eddie hates me. I'm annoyed at him right now, but he's my brother, and I will always love and care about him. I know you do. He's being a jerk right now, but he can't stay mad at us forever. I mean, he can, and the cat agrees. Cat's upset he's not out chasing mice. Anyway, I don't want him to ruin his entire career because of this, and it seems like he's set to do just that. It's not your fault, and he's making the decision for himself. Ashton touches your tear-streaked face, and his caress brings you comfort in the mess of a moment. I can't stand to see you so upset. You can go. You probably should go. Even telling Ashton to leave breaks your heart all over again. A fresh wave of pain washes over his face. I'm not walking away from you this time. You can depend on me. I can't lose you again. There's a longing in his eyes. You know what he wants. Maybe it's what you both need, to be together in this moment. Take Ashton while you can. Hell no. To the no, no, no. Love you all, seriously. As much as you want, Ashton. You're so upset, you can't stop shaking. I want nothing more than to take you in my arms, if only for a minute. Please, I do wish I could just let go and just be with you, but I can't seem to turn that part of my brain off. I completely understand. Eddie meant what he said. Will never get his blessing. Ashton takes your face in his hands, looking you right in the eye. We were meant to be together. I can't lose you, and I won't wait for Eddie to get his head out of his ass. It's time we made a plan. Hell no. To the no, no, no. Without further ado, thanks for watching. Seriously. Means a lot. If you did enjoy, at least the content that I do, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Be greatly appreciated. Other than that, you know what to do down and below, but let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Pretty much I'm just not even gonna say what I gotta say. You know what I'm gonna say. You might as well just listen to the prior chapter at the end, because you already know what I'm gonna say, and a lot of you agree with me, so that's great. For those of you who don't agree with me, right, for a lot of the end notes that I usually typically make, let me know, right? I want to understand people's different perspectives. It's one thing that, typically I hold the majority of a lot of opinions. Sometimes not always, but, that depends on what, who, what, when, where, and why, right? But seriously, and for at least like this chapter, this book, I'm pretty sure I hold a lot of your opinions. But again, I always like there's people I agree to disagree with. There's people who we can completely disagree on something, and I'm like, okay, well, I respect your opinion. Maybe I will learn something from it or whatnot, and I'm always open for that. So again, I leave the floor open for any of you who are like, no, this is understandable. I'm siding with Eddie. I understand. Which no, I'm not completely against Eddie. I just think his whole obsession with his sister is just that. It's just a bit in the realm of really weird. I've been there for family members who, have long since passed. I've been there for friends who have come and gone, the whole nine yards. And there's times where you try and you know you protect them from themselves, right? Or there's people that you look out for or whatnot, and you give them advice, but they're not always going to follow your advice. And then hey, guess what? You're right, dude. And you want to go, really? Tell me more. This is one of those situations where basically, I don't think Eddie has experienced life enough. You can just look at your sister and be like, you know what? I'm not going to give you my blessing. I get that, right? I'm going to need to see some, concrete evidence you guys didn't tell me until now, whatnot. Yeah, I had to pick up the pieces. But I'm not going to give my blessing until I see things have changed, right? I don't want to have to pick up your pieces off the floor again. And that's it. There's no reason for, this Eddie's gonna ruin his career. Eddie's gonna do this. Eddie's gonna cut his sister out of his life. Eddie's, hell, she could have just pointed out right now. The only person breaking my heart is you, Eddie. And I'm pretty sure that would have stopped him right there. But again, people don't communicate such things, so communication is key. And again, this is something that even in this chapter alone, they did acknowledge that they should have communicated Daddy way before now, way before he found out on YouTube. So again, communication is number one in any relationship, whether it be friendship, whether it be family, or whether it be a relationship. So thanks for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.